When I tell people I don't have an apartment and I live life on the road, they assume one of two things. That I either have a lot of money and am able to afford to travel all the time, or that I'm completely broke. And it's funny because it's neither. But since this isn't a general lifestyle, people like to make assumptions. I'm not a van lifer, nor do I sleep in my car. I can if I need to, but I haven't had to yet. I say life on the road because I'm not really sure what else to call it. I don't have a permanent address and I keep going to different places. I'm not rich, but I make enough to live like an average person. I had a one-bedroom apartment 15 minutes from downtown Denver and I loved it, but if you're new here and don't know, I gave that up to travel indefinitely. I am very young. I'm 25 years old. I don't have any disabilities. I don't have any responsibilities holding me here. So it just doesn't make sense for me to have this stable place to live when I don't necessarily need it. So in that moment that I signed over my lease, I then had an extra $1,500 a month to travel with that I now wasn't spending on that expensive but beautiful apartment. My base rent was about $1,200, but with all the other things that come with needing an apartment, it wound up being $1,500 a month. So many people think travel is so expensive and you need to drop $1,000 on a week trip, but that is just simply not true at all. I mean, you can, of course, if you're rich, but if you're making this your lifestyle, there are so many ways and paths you can take, so it is not that expensive and you still get to see everything that you want to see. The difficult part comes with wanting to see everything you want to see and also owning an apartment at the same time. For me at least, that wasn't possible. Yet. Now, over the years, I have learned a lot of ways to make traveling cheaper, and I will be sharing a lot more about that with you guys in my next video, so make sure to hit that subscribe button to be ready for that. But with using these methods, I average about spending between $18 and $50 a night for my accommodation. And now I'm not talking like rundown, bug-ridden motels, though I've come across a few of those. I have also come across so many hidden gems for so cheap. Check out some of these. $39 a night. $39. And I'm showing you this hotel because we paid $43 total for the night, so it was like $21, $22 each, and you can't beat that. Okay, you know, I'm actually okay if we get snowed in here. We made it. Check out this room for $60. This place is huge! And it has film-related things. Wow, I'm just overwhelmed right now. This is lit. $60, and it's the Matthew McConaughey suite. And it has these. Jackpot. So I've definitely had amazing ones along with the weird ones, but even the ones that could be considered bad were still a funny vlog experience at the very least. But this bathroom is unlike any motel bathroom I've seen before, at least the shower. So it's like, this is the bathroom, right? And then there's the door, this doorway. And then there's like this little room before the shower. And this is where the knobs are. And look at, I mean, granted, I haven't tried it yet. Maybe this doesn't do anything. Maybe this is where the old shower was, but look at this. Ow! When you like fall and you hit yourself and you like feel it in your nose, like yes. You like hit the ground, yep. That's how that felt when I just hit this bed.
Yeah.
Yay! You feel the difference between these two pillows? Okay, wait, ready? How'd that one feel?
Okay. Jesus Christ.
Bonjour from our fancy hotel. There's the dead bug I killed. It's okay, it's just one bug so far. It's quite loud. So now if you break that down, that's anywhere between $580 and $1,500 a month. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Even if I spent my maximum amount every single night of the month, I would still just hit exactly what I was spending on rent, and I'm actually getting to go places and travel and not stay in the same apartment every day. And so specifically for road tripping and living this life on the road here in the US, it is definitely a lot more cost effective to have a buddy with you. I have booked so many $40 a night rooms that were then $20 because I had a friend to split it with. And you always book the cheapest room type. It doesn't matter what bed it is. If it's the cheapest one, that's what you book and you deal with it. Paying like $8-ish for 2 beds quickly adds up a lot over the course of your road trip, and that could eventually be a whole other room that you'd have. It's just an unnecessary expense in my eyes. I've slept in the same bed with 5 friends to make a resort in Key West as cheap as possible, okay? Like, if I could do it, you could do it. Now let's talk about gas. I drove about 10,000 miles on my previous road trip from November till January, and I spent a little over $1,000 on gas total. Now granted, I did this road trip very fast. Most people would stretch this out over a much longer time, but I had the mentality of wanting to get over my driving anxiety, which is why I was doing it so fast. But I spent $1,000 to drive through 37 states. And that's a lot. And for 8,000 of those miles, I had a buddy with me. So I essentially spent $600 total over that amount of miles to see that many different places. And yes, some of those states overlap. I did drive back and forth through some of them, but I was still going through 37 states over that 10,000 miles. So even if we condensed that down into a month, let's say I spent the $600 on gas, and then I also was paying the $20 a night for a room to split with my friend, that's still only $1,200 a month. Plus room for food, which food wasn't included in the original budget of how much I was spending a month prior. So $1,500 a month to live in an apartment alone in Denver, or $1,200 a month to go and see 37 states on the road with a friend. And people ask me, how do you afford to do this? How do y'all afford to live in an apartment? Like, I'm not spending nearly as much as I used to, and people don't seem to understand that because they don't put in the research to see all these places that they could stay at for so cheap. And that is another story, because that is the internet just pushing out the most expensive things. If you ever, I'm gonna go more into this in another video, but if you ever go into like booking.com and like you see what they show you, most of them are really expensive and like the high stars, but if you start to scroll in on the screen, that's when you see the cheaper ones. And most people will just see what they originally are looking at, thinking that that's their only option, but there's a lot of scams out there, and like I said, another video. And so, honestly, this works the best if you have a remote job to work. I know not everybody has a remote job to work. It's not the easiest to come by one if you don't have a certain type of skill set, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn that skill set or learn a skill set that will then help you get a remote job if living on the road is something that you really want to do. I wanted this more than I wanted anything, so I applied to like 30 remote jobs before I got one that allowed me to live this lifestyle. It's not easy. It's not just handed to you. It takes a lot of work, but it is so worth it in the end. So what if you want to travel all the time and you don't want to spend even $600 a month on accommodation? What else is there to do? Well, I've mentioned this in a few of my videos, but I'm excited to share this now because I have finally done this and finally put in the application and got accepted for one. Workaway. It is a website that basically shows you a whole list of places that you can go and help people for about 20 to 25 hours a week in exchange for free accommodation. So like for me, in one of the upcoming months, I'm going to be working at a hostel for a month in a new state, and I'm super excited about that. And I get a free place to stay, I get paid from them, and they said that they always have free breakfast, and then with meals it's kind of like some potlucks. And I'm like, well, that's amazing because I'm already making money from my remote job, and then I'm just working 20 hours a week in a really cool environment, so I have a place to stay. I just personally want every day to be something new and exciting and not follow the same routine like I had been. That was something that was massively feeding my depression, and I just refuse to do that anymore. Sometimes I need to spend a week inside and do some work, but there is always going to be another adventure right around the corner already planned. The thing is there are so many other routes that you can take besides working a regular 9 to 5. If that is not the lifestyle that resonates with you, you don't have to do it. It will take a little time and research, but it's incredibly possible, and it is a lot cheaper than you think it might be. Especially if you are like less bougie than me and are willing to live in your car and sleep in your car, like really cheap. When you see the van lifers out there with their $150,000 van builds, that is a different story, and they most likely have sponsors. That's not this channel. Moral of the video, if you have nothing holding you in one place and you crave adventure, go out there and find it. It's incredibly possible. Leave me some comments down below and I will help you on your journey as best as I can. It took me 3 years of being obsessed and loving travel before I really took the jump and did away with my corporate job and my apartment. And I have never been happier in my life. How long will it take for you to make the jump? Thank you guys so much for watching, and please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you will be ready for all of the money-saving travel hack tactics that I have coming at you in the next video. I will see y'all then.